I found out my wedding had been stolen from me while I was standing outside a locked barn in my dress. The gate was chained. The flowers were gone. The chairs were gone. The ceremony lawn was empty. My mother was 20 minutes away in the lavender dress she had saved 3 months to buy. My father was riding beside her with the new tie he hated but wore because he wanted to look respectable for my fiancé's family. And my future mother-in-law had known for 5 days that none of them were supposed to be there. She had moved my entire wedding behind my back, cut my guest list from 184 people down to 48, removed my parents from the seating chart, told the photographer to keep the family portraits clean and timeless. And when I called my fiancé, the man I was supposed to marry that afternoon, he didn't sound shocked. He didn't even sound sorry. He just sighed and said, "Olivia, please don't drag your whole neighborhood into my life today." That was the first time he broke my heart that morning. The second time came 30 seconds later when he texted me while still on the call. "Come alone. Do not bring your family here. We can fix this after the ceremony. Please don't embarrass me in front of everyone." By the end of that day, he would be begging me not to leave. His mother would be humiliated in front of the exact country club crowd she had spent years trying to impress. His sister would delete her social media after her own words went viral. And the people they tried to hide from their perfect wedding photos would walk out with their heads high while half the room applauded. My name is Olivia Martinez. At 32 years old, I thought I was marrying into a family. Instead, I found out I had been auditioning for a role in a life where my own family was never meant to be seen. Before I continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. And if you have ever had someone make you feel like your family, your accent, your neighborhood, or your past was something you had to apologize for, then you already know why I did not cry at that gate. I got even, but not by screaming, not by throwing things, not by begging anyone to love me properly. I got even by letting them show everyone exactly who they were. It was a cold Saturday morning in late September, the kind of Midwestern morning that looks gentle until it cuts right through you. I was sitting in the back of a white rented limo with my maid of honor, Jenna, holding my bouquet in my lap. My dress was ivory, simple, and beautiful, in the way ordinary things are beautiful when they cost you something. It was not a designer gown. It came from a bridal shop outside Kansas City, and I had paid for it with overtime shifts, skipped vacations, and a year of telling myself that every sacrifice was worth it because I was building a future. I was a nurse manager at a community hospital. Not rich, not poor, just one of those women who keeps a calendar full, a checking account balanced, and a family group chat alive. My fiancé Ryan Whitmore worked in medical equipment sales. He liked to say he was building strategic relationships. What that really meant was he spent most of his time trying to impress older men in golf shirts who could either promote him or ignore him. For 2 years, I told myself ambition was not a flaw. For 2 years, I told myself his family's attitude was something I could survive. For 2 years, I let his mother, Diane Whitmore, look me up and down like I was a house she might buy, only if she could renovate the neighborhood around it. My family noticed. Of course they did. My mother noticed when Diane corrected her pronunciation at dinner. My father noticed when Ryan's father asked what route he drove, then stopped listening before he answered. My Aunt Carmen noticed when Diane called our family Christmas lively in the same tone someone might use for unlicensed. My cousins noticed when Brooke, Ryan's older sister, said, "Wow, there are so many of you, like we had multiplied without permission." But I kept defending them. Diane is just particular. Brooke has a dry sense of humor. Ryan is under pressure. They do not mean it that way. That is what women do sometimes when they are trying to be loved by a family that has already decided they are acceptable only in small doses. Willow Creek Barn was supposed to be our compromise. Ryan wanted Blue Heron Country Club from the beginning because his parents were members there. Diane kept calling it the natural choice. But I wanted somewhere warm. Somewhere with enough room for my big family, my loud family, my real family. Willow Creek had old oak beams, string lights, a pond behind the ceremony lawn, and a white farmhouse porch where my grandmother had planned to take a picture with all her grandchildren. She died 6 months before the wedding. That porch became sacred to me after that. It was not just a photo spot. It was a promise. When the limo pulled up to Willow Creek that morning, I expected chaos. Happy chaos. My cousins unloading decorations. My Aunt Carmen asking where the cake knife was. My little cousin Mateo running around in shoes already scuffed. My dad pretending to check the weather so nobody would see he was crying. Instead, there was nothing. No vendor trucks, no chairs, no music, no flowers. Just the locked gate and a chain looped through it. Jenna leaned forward. "Liv," she said slowly. "Where is everybody?" I could not answer. The limo driver, Mr. Hughes, stepped out and walked to the gate. He tugged once on the chain, then turned back with the expression of a man who knew the day had just become something none of us planned for. Then Carol Henderson, the venue owner, came hurrying down the driveway from the farmhouse. She wore jeans, rain boots, and a cardigan, holding a clipboard against her chest, like it could protect her from what she had to say. The second I saw her face, my stomach dropped. "Olivia," she said breathless. "Oh, honey, I am so sorry." I stepped out of the limo carefully because the dress still deserved respect, even if the day did not. "Sorry for what?" Carol looked at me, then at Jenna, then at the locked barn. "I thought someone told you." "Those words are small until they destroy you." "Told me what?" She swallowed. "The wedding was canceled on Monday." For a few seconds, every sound disappeared. The wind, the limo engine, the birds, my own breathing. "Canceled. Monday. 5 days ago." "No," I said. "That is not possible. I spoke to the florist yesterday. I confirmed the timeline with the DJ last night. My family is already on the way." Carol's eyes filled with tears. "Your future mother-in-law came in person. Diane Whitmore. She said there had been a family emergency and the wedding had to be moved. She said Ryan was handling communication because you were overwhelmed." Ryan, my fiancé, the man who had kissed my forehead the night before and said, "Tomorrow is going to be perfect." My voice came out strangely calm. "Moved where?" Carol looked down. "Blue Heron Country Club." Of course. Blue Heron. A golf course, a ballroom, a lake view, a charity committee, and an entire membership full of people who believed quiet prejudice became good manners if you served it with champagne. Diane loved Blue Heron. She loved saying at Blue Heron people understand standards. She loved saying it has a certain atmosphere. She loved saying it is not for everyone. And every time she said everyone, she meant my family. "How many guests?" I asked. Carol hesitated. "Tell me." She said the new event was capped at 48. Our guest list was 184. "I know." "Who made the new list?" Carol's silence answered first. Then she said Diane said immediate family only, plus Ryan's regional director, a few of his clients, some of his father's business contacts, and selected close friends. Selected. That word cut deep. My mother had selected a lavender dress after visiting 4 stores because she wanted to look nice enough. My father had selected a tie he hated because Diane once made a comment about formal standards. My Aunt Carmen had selected napkin colors and centerpieces. My cousins had selected flights, rental cars, hotel rooms, babysitters, and unpaid days off. My family had selected love. Diane had selected them out. Did she say anything else? Carol's face changed. "Tell me." She took a breath. "She said your side of the guest list had become too lively. She said Blue Heron would protect the tone of the event, and she asked us not to contact you because she did not want emotional confusion." Emotional confusion. That was Diane's phrase for consequences. My phone started buzzing in my clutch. My mother, my brother, my Aunt Carmen, my cousin Isabel. They were all on the road, dressed for a wedding that no longer existed. I stared at the locked gate. For 1 second, I almost told them to turn around. Not because Diane had won, because I could not bear the thought of watching my parents walk into a country club where people had already decided they were less than. I pictured my mom smoothing the front of her lavender dress while Diane looked through her. I pictured my dad trying to stand tall on his bad knee while Ryan's father pretended not to hear him speak. I pictured my family laughing too loudly in a room full of people waiting to call them uncivilized. I almost protected them by hiding them. Then I realized that was exactly what Diane wanted. So I called Ryan. He picked up on the second ring. There was piano music behind him, glasses clinking, soft voices, warm indoor air. He was already there. Of course he was. "Hey, babe," he said carefully. Not happy, not confused. Carefully, like he had rehearsed being calm. I looked at the chain on the gate. "Ryan, Why am I standing outside Willow Creek in my wedding dress with a locked gate in front of me? Silence. Then he sighed. That sigh told me he knew everything. Liv, just listen to me before you get upset. Before you get upset. His favorite sentence. Before you get upset, Mom did not mean it. Before you get upset, Brooke was joking. Before you get upset, Dad is just old school. Before you get upset, can you please not ruin dinner? Before you get upset, could you be easier to love? I closed my eyes. Tell me what happened. My mom and I had a conversation. My mom and I. Not we. Not you and me. My mom and I. He kept going. The wedding had gotten too big. Too big. Yes, our wedding was too big. Your side kept adding people. My side? You know what I mean. No, Ryan, say it clearly. He lowered his voice. Your family is a lot. There it was. A lot. Too many hugs. Too many cousins. Too much laughter. Too much food. Too much Spanish mixed into English. Too much love for people who had trained themselves to live on appearances. What did you expect me to do? I asked. He sounded relieved, as if we had finally arrived at the practical part. Tell them there was a venue issue. Plumbing or electrical, something believable. My dad offered to cover lunch at a restaurant nearby. You can come here alone, we will have the ceremony, and later we can do a casual family thing with your side. I stared at the locked barn. A casual family thing. Liv, please. My regional director is here. 2 major clients are here. My parents have people here who matter to my future. And my family does not matter. That is not what I said. It is what you planned. He breathed sharply. Do not drag your whole neighborhood into my life today. Jenna's hand flew to her mouth. I stood completely still. My whole neighborhood. Not my family. Not our guests. Not the people who had loved me long before he showed up in my life with a nice smile and a weak spine. My whole neighborhood. Ryan, I said, those are the people who helped raise me. I know. No. You know how to eat at their tables. You know how to accept their help. You know how to let my father fix your car and let my mother send food to your apartment when you were depressed. But you do not know how to stand beside them in public. Olivia, do not make this emotional. It is my wedding day. I am trying to protect our future. No, you are trying to protect your image. Then my phone buzzed with a text. From Ryan, while he was still on the call. Come alone. Do not bring your family here. We can fix this after the ceremony. Please don't embarrass me in front of everyone. I stared at the message. Not I am sorry. Not I will fix this. Not your family belongs. Just come alone. Do not embarrass me. I almost thanked him. Because sometimes betrayal becomes easier to survive when it leaves a receipt. I spoke into the phone again. Do you believe my family belongs at our wedding? He did not answer right away. 1 second. 2, 3. My heart broke in the silence. Then he said, I think we need to be realistic about the kind of life we are stepping into. The kind where my parents wait outside. Do not make it sound cruel. Then stop being cruel. His voice hardened. For once, Olivia, can you stop acting like I am marrying your entire neighborhood? I love you, but I cannot build a future if your family keeps making it look like I married down. Married down. 2 words. That was all it took. Not because I had not seen signs before, because those 2 words finally gave the signs a name. I had not been loved. I had been curated, managed, displayed when useful, edited when inconvenient. I hung up. No goodbye. No speech. Just silence. Jenna was crying now. Carol looked like she wanted to disappear. Mr. Hughes stood beside the limo waiting. My phone buzzed again. A notification. Diane Whitmore had posted on Facebook. Someone had tagged Ryan. I opened it. There was a photo of the Blue Heron Ballroom already decorated in white roses and gold napkins. The caption read, "So grateful we were able to create the intimate, elegant wedding our son deserves." Sometimes a mother has to step in and protect a special day from becoming something it was never meant to be. Family only, close friends only, peace only. Under it, Brooke had commented, finally. The original plan was giving county fair. Derek had replied, $5 says they still show up with foil trays. Then 3 laughing emojis. Ryan had liked the post. Ryan had liked the post. I screenshotted everything. Not for a lawyer, not for court, for myself. For the future version of me who might miss him one day and wonder if I had overreacted. I wanted her to remember. Jenna whispered, "What are we going to do?" I removed my veil slowly and handed it to her. Then I wiped one tear before it could ruin my makeup. "We are going to Blue Heron," I said. Her eyes widened. All of us, all of us. Before we could get into the limo, a black SUV pulled into the gravel lot. The driver's door opened and Brooke Whitmore stepped out. Ryan's older sister, champagne-colored dress, oversized sunglasses, perfect hair, cruelty polished until it looked like confidence. Her husband Derek came around from the passenger side holding a white envelope. Of course Diane had sent backup. Brooke looked at my dress, then the locked gate, then my face. "Oh, Olivia," she said, "this is such a bad look." I smiled once. "I was thinking the same thing about you." Her mouth tightened. Derek stepped forward. "Let's keep this civil." That was always how people like Derek started. They wanted civility after they had finished being cruel. He held out the envelope. "What is that?" I asked. "A solution." I did not take it. So he opened it himself and pulled out a cashier's check. $5,000. $5,000 to erase 136 people. $5,000 to buy my silence. $5,000 to send my mother home in the lavender dress she had been so proud of. Derek held it out. "This should cover gas, motel rooms, and whatever food your people were expecting." Your people? Whatever food. My jaw tightened. Brooke crossed her arms. "Honestly, Olivia, some families are just better in smaller doses." I looked at her. "Did you practice that, or does contempt come naturally?" Her face flushed. Derek sighed. "Look, nobody is saying your family is bad. No, you are just saying they are embarrassing." Brooke shrugged. "If the shoe fits." Carol made a small sound behind me. Derek lowered his voice. "Diane is trying to protect Ryan. His regional director is there. His father's clients are there. These are people who can change his future. You cannot expect him to risk that because your relatives want a big party." My relatives were invited to a wedding. They can have lunch somewhere else. Brooke added, "Somewhere more comfortable." That word again. Comfortable, meaning out of sight. I took the check. Brooke's lips curved. For half a second, she thought I had folded. I held it between two fingers. Then I tore it cleanly in half. Derek's face went blank. I tore it again. And again. The pieces fell onto the gravel between us. Brooke yanked off her sunglasses. "Are you insane?" "No," I said. "I am finally done being polite." Derek stepped closer. "You are about to ruin your own wedding." I looked at the locked gate. "No, your family already ruined the wedding. I'm about to ruin the performance." Brooke pulled out her phone. "I'm calling Mom." "Good," I said, opening the limo door. "Tell her to fix her lipstick. We are on our way." "You cannot bring those people to Blue Heron." I turned back. "Those people are my family. They are not on the list." "Then the list is wrong. It is a private club. It was supposed to be my wedding." Brooke smiled coldly. "Not anymore." That almost hurt. Almost. But I smiled back. "Brooke, you should get back before we do." "Why?" "Because your mother is going to need someone to hold her hand when she realizes the woman she tried to humiliate is walking in with every person she tried to erase." I got into the limo and shut the door. As we pulled away from Willow Creek, I looked back at the empty porch where my grandmother's photo should have been taken. That was the part that cut deepest. Diane had not just moved chairs. She had stolen a memory. And she had done it because she believed my roots were something that could be cropped out of a frame. The family group chat exploded. "Where is everybody? Why are vendors leaving? Are we still going to Willow Creek? Tia Carmen says something is wrong." I typed one message. "Change of plans. Follow the limo to Blue Heron Country Club. Do not yell. Do not argue. Do not react to disrespect. Walk in with dignity. I will handle everything. I love you all." My mother called immediately. I answered. Her voice was calm in the way mothers sound when they are trying not to frighten their children. "Baby," she said, "what did they do?" Not what happened. What did they do? Because mothers know. "They moved the wedding without telling me." Silence. Then my father's voice in the background. "What?" My mother came back. "Where?" "Blue Heron." "Oh, Olivia." 2 words. They carried every dinner where Diane had smiled too tightly. Every comment about our family being lively. Every time Ryan said she is just particular. Every time I swallowed a sharp word to keep peace with people who had been making war on me quietly. My mother asked, "Do you want us to go home?" I looked down at my bouquet. For 1 second, I wanted to say yes. I wanted to protect her. Then I remembered her smoothing that lavender dress in the mirror at Macy's and asking me, "Do you think his mother will think this is nice enough?" Nice enough. My mother, who fed half the neighborhood from a small kitchen, had been made to wonder if she was nice enough. "No," I said, "I want you to come." "Are you sure?" "Yes." She took a breath. "Then we are coming." No speech, no conditions, just we are coming. That was my family. The caravan formed behind us within minutes. My parents' minivan, my brother's pickup, my cousin's rented SUV, 2 church vans. A line of people Diane had decided were too loud, too ordinary, too real. As we drove toward Blue Heron, I looked through the screenshots again. Diane's post, Brooke's comment, Derek's reply, Ryan's text. Ryan's like, then Jenna leaned forward. "Liv," she said carefully, "there's something else." She turned her phone in toward me. It was a video Brooke had posted to her close friend's story that morning. Apparently, one of Jenna's cousins followed someone who followed Brooke. The video had already been screen recorded and passed around because people like Brooke always forgot cruelty could travel faster than they could delete it. In the video, Brooke stood in the Blue Heron ballroom smiling at the camera. "Emergency wedding glow-up," she said with a laugh. "Mom basically rescued Ryan from a county fair disaster. We went from barn chaos to actual class in 5 days. Pray the bride doesn't bring the cousin parade." The cousin parade. Then Derek's voice from behind the camera said, "As long as nobody parks a food truck on the golf course, we survive." Brooke laughed. I watched it once, then again. Then I sent it to myself. Jenna looked worried. "What are you thinking?" I looked out the window at the road ahead. "I am thinking they are very comfortable speaking when they believe the people they are mocking will never hear them." Jenna nodded. And today they are going to hear themselves." Blue Heron Country Club looked exactly the way Diane wanted the world to see her. Perfect grass, perfect lake, perfect white columns, perfect entrance, perfect people holding champagne and pretending not to stare as my family's caravan rolled up behind the limo. The valet froze. One young man in a red vest looked from the limo to the line of cars and whispered into his headset. I stepped out first. My heels touched the pavement. The front doors opened and Diane appeared at the top of the steps. She wore a pale silver dress, pearls at her throat, and the expression of a woman watching a stain spread across her favorite tablecloth. For 1 second, real panic flashed across her face. Then she recovered. Diane was good at that. She came down the steps with her arms open, smiling like she was the victim in a story she had written herself. "Olivia," she said loudly. "Sweetheart, there you are. We have all been so worried." Worried. I almost respected the performance. She reached for my hands. I stepped back. Her smile tightened. "What are all these cars?" she whispered. "My guests." Her eyes flicked behind me. Children in dress shoes were climbing out. Aunties were adjusting hats. My cousins were straightening ties. My father helped my mother out of the minivan, one hand on her elbow, the other holding his cane. Diane's mouth barely moved. "They cannot come inside." They were invited. "Not here." "To my wedding." "This is no longer that kind of wedding." That sentence hung between us. "What kind of wedding is it now, Diane?" She glanced behind her at the lobby full of carefully selected guests. Ryan's coworkers, his regional director, his father's clients, Brooke's book club, golf friends, women from the charity committee, people who knew how to speak softly while thinking loudly. No one from my life, not one. Diane leaned closer. "I made a difficult decision because you were too emotional to make it yourself." "My wedding was not your decision," Ryan agreed. "I knew that." "It still hurt." Diane saw it land and pressed harder. "The original event had become unmanageable. Your side was simply too large, too casual, too unpredictable. I was protecting everyone from embarrassment." My mother reached the steps. She looked beautiful in lavender, nervous but beautiful. "Mrs. Whitmore," my mother said politely, "is there a problem?" Diane looked at her with a smile so cold it could have preserved food. "Maria, this setting is a little formal for such a large crowd. I am sure you understand." My mother looked down for half a second. Half a second. She smoothed the front of her lavender dress. That tiny movement did something to me. Diane had hurt me all morning, but watching her make my mother feel small, that turned my anger into something clean, sharp, permanent. My father stepped beside my mother. "For such a large crowd," he repeated. Diane ignored him. She did not argue with people she considered beneath her. She treated them like background noise. Then Ryan appeared. My fiancé. Black tuxedo, perfect hair, pale face. For one foolish second, my heart hoped. even after the locked gate, even after the call, even after the text. Some desperate part of me wanted him to walk down those steps, take my hand, turn to his mother and say, "Enough." He did not. He walked straight to Diane's side. "Liv," he said low and tight, "why did you bring everyone here?" Not "I am sorry." Not "are you okay?" Not "Mom, what did you do?" "Why did you bring everyone here?" I looked at him. "Because they were invited." "Not here, to my wedding, Ryan." He rubbed his forehead. "Can we talk privately?" "Number." His eyes widened. No, your family moved my wedding publicly enough. We can talk publicly." Diane gasped. Ryan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You are embarrassing me. I am embarrassing you. Look around." "I am." "No, you are reacting. You are hurt, and I get that, but you need to calm down and think about what this looks like." "What does it look like?" His jaw tightened. "It looks like you brought a crowd here to pressure my family." My father's face changed. "A crowd," he said quietly. Ryan looked at him, then away. He was ashamed, not of what he had done, of being seen by us. I stepped closer. "Say it." "Say what?" "Say my family does not belong here. Do not twist this. You keep saying that because the plain truth sounds ugly." He opened his mouth, but Diane stepped between us. "That is enough. Olivia, this behavior is exactly what I was trying to prevent." "What behavior?" "This scene. You created this scene. I saved this family from humiliation. My family is the one being humiliated." Diane's voice sharpened. "Your family was never going to be comfortable here." My mother flinched. Again. That was it. I reached into my clutch and pulled out my phone. "Let's talk about comfort." Ryan's face went gray. "Liv, don't." I opened Diane's Facebook post. The ballroom photo. The caption. The comments. Ryan's like. Then I held up the screen. "Did everyone here see this?" Diane's eyes widened. Brooke appeared in the doorway behind her mother. Olivia put that away. I read Diane's caption out loud. Slowly. Clearly. "So grateful we were able to create the intimate, elegant wedding our son deserves." Sometimes a mother has to step in and protect a special day from becoming something it was never meant to be. Family only, close friends only, peace only. A low murmur moved through the lobby. Then I read Brooke's comment. "Finally." The original plan was giving county fair. My brother took one step forward. My father put a hand on his chest. Not to protect Diane, to protect my brother from giving them the chaos they wanted. Then I read Derek's reply. $5 says they still show up with foil trays. Derek's face flushed. "That was private." "No," I said, "it was public. You just did not expect the people you mocked to read it." I looked at Ryan, and Ryan liked it. Ryan looked down. Brooke's face turned red. It was a joke. I turned to her, then laughed now. She did not. The Blue Heron event manager, Patrice, hurried into the lobby wearing a navy blazer and a headset. "What is happening?" Diane rushed toward her. "Patrice, thank God. Please have these people removed. They are not on the approved guest list." Patrice looked at me, then at my dress. "You are the bride I was supposed to be." Diane cut in. "The event was adjusted." Patrice looked uncomfortable. "Yes, Mrs. Whitmore confirmed 48 guests." "Exactly," Diane said. "So this is a capacity issue." Patrice frowned. "The ballroom capacity is 250. Silence. Beautiful silence. Diane's mouth tightened. Brooke looked away. Ryan closed his eyes. "One lie down. More to go." Patrice continued carefully. "We can add tables if needed, but we would need to coordinate with catering." "No," Diane snapped. The sharpness of her voice startled even her own guests. She softened it too late. "No, that will not be necessary. This is not the event we planned." My mother spoke then, quietly. "Diane, did you plan any seats for us?" Diane froze. My mother looked past her into the ballroom. "For me, for her father, for her brother." Ryan swallowed. Diane did not answer. So I walked past her into the ballroom. No one stopped me. Maybe they were too stunned. Maybe they wanted to see how far the truth would go. Maybe they already knew the room had shifted from wedding to witness stand, even without any court in sight. The ballroom was beautiful in the coldest way possible. White roses, gold napkins, crystal glasses. A framed sign near the entrance read, "The Whitmore Wedding." Not Martinez Whitmore. Not Ryan and Olivia. The Whitmore Wedding. My last name had been removed like clutter. Beside the sign stood the seating chart. I scanned it. Ryan's parents, Brooke and Derek. Ryan's regional director. Ryan's father's clients. golf friends, neighbors, book club women. No Maria Martinez, no Daniel Martinez, no Mateo, my brother, no Aunt Carmen, no table for my family. Not even one. My mother came up beside me and saw it. She said nothing. That hurt more than if she had cried. A photographer I recognized from planning meetings appeared from the side hallway with his camera bag. His name was Aaron. He looked deeply uncomfortable. Olivia, he said softly, I am sorry, I thought you knew. What exactly did you think I knew? His eyes moved to Diane. Diane shook her head once sharply. I looked at him. Aaron. He took a breath. Mrs. Whitmore emailed last week and asked me to focus formal portraits on the Whitmore side. She said your extended family photos were no longer needed because the album should feel more classic. Classic. There are words that do not grow teeth until the right person says them. Clean, elegant, formal, classic. Diane had spent months using pretty words to chew pieces off my dignity. Now everyone could hear the bite. My father looked at Ryan. You knew this too. Ryan's face crumpled. Mr. Martinez. My father lifted one hand. No, you ate at my table. The room went still. My dad's voice stayed low, but everyone listened. You sat in my garage while I fixed your car and told me you never had a father who listened to you. You called my wife when your mother made you feel small. You let my daughter help you when your commissions dried up. We opened our home to you. Ryan's eyes filled. My father continued. And today you stood beside people who removed our chairs. Ryan whispered I did not know about the chairs. My mother looked at him. You knew enough. 3 words. They hit harder than shouting. Diane moved toward Ryan, protective and furious. This is ridiculous. Olivia is making a spectacle. I turned to her. No, Diane. You made a spectacle out of disrespect and hoped I would be too heartbroken to name it. Derek stepped into the ballroom. Okay, this has gone far enough. You all need to leave before security gets involved. My cousin Isabel laughed once. Not loudly. Just enough. Derek pointed at her. See? This is exactly what we meant. I lifted one hand toward my family. Nobody moved. Nobody yelled. Nobody gave him the chaos he wanted. That made him angrier. Brooke crossed her arms. You think you are so clever, Olivia. You can pull up screenshots and play victim all day, but it does not change what everyone can see. I looked at her. And what can everyone see? She stepped forward. A girl who got lucky. A girl from a loud family who thought marrying Ryan meant she finally moved up. You can buy a nice dress. You can manage a hospital floor. You can learn which fork to use. But you will never wash that neighborhood off you. A few people gasped. Good. Let them hear her. Ryan said, Brooke, stop. But it was weak. Too late. Too small. I looked at him. Is that what you think too? He rubbed his face. Liv, please. Today has gotten out of control. There was his answer. Not yes. Not no. A coward's answer. I took one step toward him. Do you believe my family belongs at our wedding? He looked at my family, then at the ballroom, then at his mother, then at his regional director near the bar. I think Ryan said slowly, we need to be honest about the image we are presenting. My mother closed her eyes. Ryan kept going desperate now. I love you, but my career matters too. My future matters. I cannot spend my life pretending every cookout, every cousin, every neighborhood friend has to come with us everywhere. I cannot build something bigger if you keep pulling me back. Something bigger. Pulling me back. The last living piece of my love for him went quiet. Not violently. Just quiet, like a candle pinched between wet fingers. I nodded. Thank you. He looked confused. For what? For finally saying it in front of witnesses. Diane stepped forward. Enough, Patrice, call security. Patrice did not move. Diane stared at her. I said call security. Patrice's voice was professional but cold now. Mrs. Whitmore's security is already aware. At this moment, I am more concerned that the bride appears to have been excluded from her own event. The room went silent again. Diane's face flushed. She was not used to staff speaking to her like that. That was when I saw the projector screen at the front of the ballroom. It was already set up for the wedding slideshow. Our wedding slideshow. The one Jenna had helped me make. Photos of Ryan and me. Photos of both families. A tribute slide for my grandmother. A slide of my parents' wedding picture. A slide of Ryan eating tamales at my Aunt Carmen's house with sauce on his chin, laughing like he belonged. I looked at Jenna. She understood immediately. The DJ's laptop was sitting near the sound table. Jenna crossed the room fast, whispered to him, and showed him her phone. He looked at me. I nodded. Diane noticed. "What are you doing?" I walked to the podium and picked up the microphone. The speakers popped softly. Everyone turned. "My name is Olivia Martinez," I said. The room fell silent. "For anyone here who does not know me, I was supposed to marry Ryan Whitmore today." Ryan whispered, "Liv, please." I ignored him. This morning I arrived at the venue Ryan and I chose together. The venue where my grandmother was supposed to be honored. The venue where my parents were supposed to watch me begin a new life. And I found it locked. Diane crossed her arms. "I learned that my future mother-in-law canceled that venue 5 days ago. She moved the wedding here. She cut my guest list from 184 people to 48. She removed my parents from the seating chart. She asked the photographer to keep my family out of the formal album, and she did not tell me." The projector screen behind me flickered on. Diane's Facebook post appeared. Large, bright, impossible to deny. Gasps moved through the ballroom. Diane spun around. "Turn that off." The DJ did not. I continued. "I was told this was about elegance." Brooke's comment appeared under the post. Finally. The original plan was giving county fair. A few guests whispered Brooke's name. Brooke's mouth opened. Then Derek's reply appeared. $5 says they still show up with foil trays. Derek lunged toward the DJ table, but my brother stepped into his path, not touching him, just standing there. Derek stopped. I continued. "I was told this was about peace." Ryan's text appeared next. "Come alone. Do not bring your family here. We can fix this after the ceremony. Please don't embarrass me in front of everyone." The room went so quiet I could hear someone set down a glass. Ryan looked like he might be sick. I turned to face him. That was sent while I stood outside a locked venue in my wedding dress. The next slide appeared. A photo of the seating chart. No Martinez family. The next. The sign. The Whitmore wedding. The next. A screenshot of Brooke's close friends video. Jenna had muted it at first. I looked at the DJ. "Play it." Brooke shouted, "Do not." The room watched her video fill the screen. Brooke's own voice came through the speakers. "Emergency wedding glow up. Mom basically rescued Ryan from a county fair disaster. We went from barn chaos to actual class in 5 days. Pray the bride doesn't bring the cousin parade." Then Derek's voice. "As long as nobody parks a food truck on the golf course, we survive." The video ended. Nobody moved. That was the moment Diane's entire performance died. Not because I called her cruel, because her own family had said the quiet part loud enough for everyone to hear. Brooke was pale. Derek's face was bright red. Ryan looked down at the floor. Diane stood perfectly still, but her hands trembled. I looked at the guests. I was told my family would embarrass this room. My voice shook once, then steadied. "But I want everyone to look carefully. Since we arrived, my family has not yelled. They have not threatened anyone. They have not insulted anyone. They have stood here with more dignity than the people who called them a county fair." My Aunt Carmen lifted her chin. My mother wiped one tear. My father stood tall on his bad knee. I continued. "My family is not perfect. We are loud. We laugh hard. We bring too much food. We take pictures of everything. We dance before the DJ says it is time. We cry in public. We pray in kitchens. We show up in hospital waiting rooms with blankets, sandwiches, and phone chargers." A few soft laughs came from my side. "But they are not an embarrassment." I looked at Diane. "They are my legacy." My voice grew stronger. My mother worked in a school cafeteria for 26 years. My father delivered packages with a bad knee so his children could have choices he never had. My aunties helped raise me. My cousins stood by me. My grandmother taught me that a clean heart matters more than a clean reputation. I looked back at Ryan, and the man I was going to marry looked at all of that and decided it made him look like he married down. A sharp gasp moved through the room. Ryan covered his face. I kept going. "Maybe we are too much. Too much love, too much memory, too much truth, too much dignity to fit inside a room built for pretending." Someone near the back said amen. I did not know who. It did not matter. I want to be very clear. I am not here to beg for a seat at this table. I am not here to convince anyone that my family deserves respect. Respect is not something we audition for. I reached down and slipped the engagement ring off my finger. Ryan stepped forward. Liv, please. I looked at him. This ring was supposed to mean I was joining your family. Today it showed me I was only being invited to erase mine. Then I placed the ring on the podium. Not thrown, not slammed, placed, like returning something that had never truly belonged to me. This wedding is canceled. Diane gasped like I had ruined something sacred. But I had not ruined anything. I had simply stopped pretending there was anything left to save. I will not marry into a family that thinks love means silence. I will not build a life with a man who needs me to shrink so he can feel tall. And I will not ask my parents to wait outside any door that has my name on it. I put the microphone down. The silence lasted 3 seconds. Then my Aunt Carmen started clapping. One clap. Sharp. Then another. My brother joined. Then my cousins. Then my mother. Then my father. Then something Diane never expected happened. People on her side began clapping too. Not everyone. Of course not everyone. Some people sat stiffly offended that Truth had interrupted lunch. But enough people clapped that Diane's face went white. An older woman in a navy dress stood from a front table. I recognized her. Margaret Ellison, chair of the Blue Heron Charity Luncheon Committee. Diane had talked about that committee for months because she was supposed to co-chair the winter fundraiser. Margaret picked up her purse. Then she looked directly at Diane. This is shameful. Diane's mouth fell open. Margaret continued. We raise money for working families every year, Diane. And this is what you say about one when they walk into the room. The room froze. Margaret turned to me. Miss Martinez, I am sorry I sat here as long as I did. Then she walked out. Another woman followed. Then a couple from Ryan's father's table. Then one of Ryan's clients. Then his regional director, a tall woman named Elaine Porter, stepped away from the bar. Ryan saw her coming and straightened like a child about to be called into the principal's office. Elaine looked at him for a long moment. Ryan, she said, voice quiet but carrying. He swallowed. Elaine, I can explain. I am sure you can. His face brightened with desperate hope. Then she said, but I no longer want to hear it. The entire room heard that. Elaine looked toward my family. Our company sells to community hospitals. We build our reputation on serving families like the ones you just insulted. Ryan went pale. The regional presentation on Monday is canceled, she said. His mouth opened. Elaine, and do not call me this weekend. Then she turned to me. Miss Martinez, I apologize for my presence at an event built on your exclusion. She walked out. That was the sound of Ryan's future cracking. Not destroyed, not illegal, not dramatic enough for a movie, but real enough to ruin the promotion he had sacrificed my dignity to chase. Ryan's knees seemed to weaken. Diane rushed to him. Ryan, no, she cannot do that. Your father will call someone. Elaine had already left. The room was whispering now. People were pulling out phones. Not to record me anymore. To text about Diane. To text about Brooke. To text about Ryan. The exact crowd Diane wanted to impress was now carrying her humiliation out the door, one message at a time. Brooke spun on me. You are disgusting, she hissed. I tilted my head. For showing your video. For ruining my mother. I looked at Diane. No, Brooke. I just gave her a microphone. She ruined herself. Derek pointed at me. You think this makes you better than us? No, I said, I already was. His face twisted. He took one step forward. My brother moved again. Derek stopped again. Patrice appeared beside me. Olivia, she said gently. What would you like to do about the catering? Diane snapped, the food stays here. Patrice looked at her tablet. The catering invoice is under Olivia Martinez's name. Diane's mouth tightened. This is a Whitmore event. Patrice's voice turned icy. There is no wedding without the bride. A few people gasped. Patrice looked at me. Olivia, would you like your food released? Diane stepped forward. You cannot do that. Patrice did not blink. The club will not hold food paid for by the bride after the bride has canceled the event. That was not legal drama. That was common decency. And it humiliated Diane more than any lawsuit could have. Because a staff member she had treated like background noise had just corrected her in front of everyone. Yes, I said, please release it. Patrice nodded. I will have the kitchen pack what can be moved. Diane looked like she might faint. Her perfect wedding, her perfect guest list, her perfect sign, her perfect country club, all collapsing while my supposedly embarrassing family stood with more grace than she had ever managed in her life. Ryan rushed toward me as I stepped down from the podium. Liv, wait. I kept walking. He stepped in front of me. Please. I know this got out of hand, but don't end everything like this. I looked at him. This did not get out of hand. It got honest. My mom pushed too hard. Yes. I should have stopped her. Yes. I was scared. I know. I did not want to lose my family, and I was supposed to lose mine. He had no answer. He looked like a little boy wearing a suit he had not earned. For a moment I pitied him. Not enough to stay, but enough to speak softly. Ryan, I hope one day you become your own man. His eyes filled. But you will not become one by marrying me and asking me to disappear. I walked past him. My family followed. Out of the ballroom, past the white roses, past the gold napkins, past the sign that said the Whitmore wedding. As we reached the lobby, Diane found her voice one last time. You will regret this, Olivia. I turned around. For the first time all day, I smiled fully. No, Diane, I already regret something. Her eyes narrowed. What? Thinking your family was a room worth entering. Then I walked out. Outside, the sky had turned bright and cold. My family gathered near the cars. No one knew what to say. Then my little cousin Mateo tugged on my dress. Are you still getting married? He asked. My throat tightened. I crouched carefully. No, baby. His face fell. Are we still having cake? For the first time all day, I laughed. A real laugh. Yes, I said, we are absolutely still having cake. He grinned. And just like that, the spell broke. People started moving. Aunties gave orders. Uncles lifted boxes. Cousins called friends. Someone found extra tablecloths. Someone else called a cousin who owned a taco truck. My dad came over while everyone was loading up. He did not say I'm sorry. He did not say I told you so. He simply opened his arms. I stepped into them and finally cried. Not pretty tears, not one cinematic tear. I cried like a woman whose body had been holding up a collapsing roof and finally realized she was safe enough to let it fall. My dad held me carefully so he would not crush the dress. I wanted today to be beautiful for you, he whispered. I cried harder. It is, I said. He pulled back, confused. I wiped my face. It is now. My Aunt Carmen's church had a parish hall 10 minutes away. It had folding tables, scuffed floors, fluorescent lights, and a kitchen that always smelled faintly like coffee. It also had something Blue Heron did not. Room for us. By the time we arrived, half the neighborhood seemed to know something had happened. My aunt's church friends had unlocked the kitchen. Teenagers from the youth group were setting up folding chairs. Someone brought coffee. Someone brought foil pans of rice, beans, baked chicken salad rolls, and 3 desserts nobody had asked for but everyone needed. My cousin's friend pulled his taco truck into the parking lot and refused to charge me. The DJ set up on the little stage under a banner that still said Spring Raffle Night because nobody had time to take it down. The florist placed arrangements in old glass pitchers. The cake sat slightly crooked on a folding table covered with a white sheet. And somehow it was perfect. Not magazine perfect. Better, human perfect. The kind of perfect Diane would never understand because it could not be purchased. When I walked in, everyone cheered. I stopped in the doorway, overwhelmed. These were the people she had tried to hide. My mother's coworkers. My dad's delivery friends. My cousins from Chicago, Omaha, and Wichita. My nursing team from the hospital. Mrs. Ellis, who altered my dress. My little brother's friends, awkward in ties. My aunties crying and laughing at the same time. They were not polished. They were not quiet. They were not curated. They were mine. Jenna handed me a tissue. You good? I looked around. No, I said honestly, but I am standing. She nodded. That counts. The DJ tapped the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been told this is no longer a wedding reception. People quieted. He looked at me. What are we calling it? I thought for a second. Then I said a dignity party. The room erupted, and that was exactly what it became. A dignity party. My mother danced with my uncle to Old Motown. My cousin started a line dance. My hospital co-workers made me sit down and eat because they said I looked like one of my own patients. Kids ran around with frosting on their faces. Someone's baby fell asleep on a stack of coats. Every imperfect thing felt like proof that I was alive. My dad and I still had our dance. The original plan had been for us to dance under string lights at Willow Creek. Instead, we danced under fluorescent lights while a toddler screamed happily near the cake table and my Aunt Carmen cried into a napkin. My dad held my hand carefully. I practiced, he said. I know. My knee might mess up the turn. I do not care. Halfway through the song, he started crying. I put my forehead on his shoulder. I'm sorry, I whispered. He pulled back. For what? For bringing you into this. His face hardened, but not at me. Olivia, look at me. I did. You did not bring shame on us. They tried to hand you shame and you refused to carry it. That is not something to apologize for. I will remember that sentence for the rest of my life. They tried to hand you shame and you refused to carry it. After the dance, my mother took the microphone. I panicked immediately. Mom, you do not have to. She waved me off. Mothers have a way of becoming queens when their children need them. She stood at the front of the hall in her lavender dress, holding a paper cup of coffee like it was champagne. I had a speech prepared, she said. People laughed softly. It was about marriage, patience, choosing each other, building a home. She looked at me. But today I want to say something else. The room quieted. When Olivia was a little girl, she used to ask me why some people looked at us funny when we walked into certain places. Restaurants, stores, offices, neighborhoods where the lawns were bigger than our whole yard. My throat tightened. I used to tell her, Mija, walk in anyway. My mother smiled sadly. Today my daughter walked in anyway. And then she walked out when she realized the room did not deserve her. The applause started before she finished. She lifted one hand. So here is my blessing now. Not for a marriage that was not worthy of her, but for my daughter's life. May she never again confuse being chosen with being cherished. May she never make herself small to fit inside someone else's fear. May she always know that the people who love her loudly are better than the people who tolerate her quietly. I broke completely. Jenna held me. My aunties cried. Even the DJ wiped his eyes. Then my mother lifted her paper cup. To Olivia. Everyone lifted whatever they had. Coffee, water, soda, plastic cups. To Olivia. For the first time that day, I felt joy. Not happiness. Happiness was too clean a word. This was rougher. A joy that had been dragged through humiliation and still came out breathing. About an hour later, Ryan showed up. Of course he did. He came alone, still in his tuxedo. Hair messy, eyes red. The room changed when he walked in. The music did not stop, but the spirit of it lowered. People turned. My brother stood immediately. My father put a hand on his shoulder. Let Olivia handle it. Ryan looked around the parish hall like he had entered another country. Folding chairs, paper plates, kids dancing, a crooked cake, aunties laughing, real life. He found me near the kitchen doors. Can we talk? He asked. I studied him. He looked awful. Part of me wanted to comfort him. That instinct made me sad. Women like me are often taught to comfort the people who cut us because we understand pain too well. But understanding someone's pain does not mean volunteering to be their bandage. We can talk here, I said. He looked toward the room. Can we step outside? People are filming everything. My mom is losing her mind. There it was. Even his apology started with damage control. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was familiar. Your mother is losing her mind, I repeated. He closed his eyes. That came out wrong. It came out honest. He lowered his voice. I messed up. I said nothing. I messed up so badly. Still, I said nothing. He looked desperate. Please say something. What do you want me to say? I do not know. Yell at me. Tell me I'm terrible. Anything. I already said what I needed to say. His eyes filled. My mom got in my head. She has been in your head your whole life. I thought I could manage it. You managed me instead. That landed. He looked down. I did not think it would go this far. I believed him. That was the saddest part. Ryan had not imagined my pain because my pain had never been what he measured. He measured his mother's mood, his father's approval, his co-workers' opinions, his family's image. My heart was somewhere near the bottom of the list under keep things smooth. I told myself we would fix it later, he whispered. You plan to humiliate my family now and apologize later. He covered his mouth. I did not see it like that. I know. I love you, Liv. I looked at him for the long time. I think you love being loved by me. He cried then, quietly. For the first time all day, I think he understood something. Not enough. But something. I can change, he whispered. Maybe. His eyes lifted. But not with me waiting at the altar while you decide whether I'm worth defending. He stepped closer. Can we start over? I shook my head. Number. Please. No, Ryan. Because of today. Because today showed me yesterday. And last month. And last year. Today was just the loud version. He wiped his face. What am I supposed to do now? That question almost made me laugh. Even at the end, he wanted me to guide him through the consequences of hurting me. I do not know, I said. Ask yourself. Ask a therapist. Ask God. Ask someone who is not me. He nodded, shattered. Then he said, my mom wants to apologize. I closed my eyes. Of course. Not because she was sorry. Because the story was spreading. Because people had recorded. Because guests had walked out. Because Diane Whitmore could survive cruelty but not exposure. No, I said. She is outside. My eyes opened. What? She came with me. She's in the parking lot. Jenna appeared instantly beside me. I knew it. I walked past Ryan toward the exit. Outside, the late afternoon sun had turned gold. Diane stood near the parking lot in her silver dress, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. But not humble. Never humble. Just cornered. Brooke sat in the passenger seat of an SUV, arms crossed, refusing to get out until she saw my mother come outside behind me. Then she stepped out too, because Brooke could never resist an audience. Diane approached with a tissue in her hand. Olivia, she said, voice trembling. This has gotten completely out of hand. Not I hurt you. Not I was wrong. This has gotten out of hand. You should leave, I said. Her face tightened. I came to make peace. No, you came to manage damage. She flinched because I had named it correctly. Diane looked toward the parish hall where music and laughter spilled through the doors. You have to understand. I only wanted what was best for my son. No, Diane. You wanted what made your son look best to people whose opinions you worship. Her mouth trembled. I was trying to protect the family. My family is the one that needed protection from yours. Brooke walked up, then face red. This is ridiculous. Mom is trying to apologize and you are still acting like a victim. I looked at her. You called my family a cousin parade. She rolled her eyes. It was a joke. Then laugh now. She did not. Diane stepped closer. I should not have moved the venue without speaking to you. That was the closest thing to accountability she had ever offered. But even then, her voice carried the bitterness of a woman forced to kneel in public. I waited. She added, but you have to admit your reaction was extreme. There it was. The apology with a knife in it. I nodded slowly. Thank you for coming. Her eyes flickered with hope. Then we can… No, thank you for reminding me I made the right decision. Her face hardened. Olivia, do not be foolish. You are upset now, but Ryan loves you. Families have conflict. You do not throw away a marriage over one bad day. One bad day. Yes, I stepped closer. Diane, a bad day is rain. A bad day is the cake arriving late. A bad day is someone forgetting the rings. You planned this. You lied. You smiled in my face while you erased my parents from my wedding. That is not a bad day. That is character. She had no answer. Brooke muttered, You are impossible. I turned to her. No, I am inconvenient. There is a difference. The parish hall doors opened behind me. My mother stepped out. Then my father. Then Aunt Carmen. Not to fight, just to stand. Diane looked at them and something like fear crossed her face. Not fear of violence. Fear of being outnumbered by people who knew exactly who they were. My mother spoke softly. Diane, go home. Diane opened her mouth. My mother continued. You had my daughter's kindness for 2 years. You mistook it for weakness. That was your mistake. Diane looked like she wanted to say something cruel. But with the music behind us, the sun setting, my family standing tall, and her son crying in the parking lot, even she seemed to understand there was no room left for performance. She turned and walked back to the SUV. Brooke followed. Ryan stayed. He looked at me one last time. I am sorry, he said. I believed that he was. I also knew sorry is not a bridge, unless the person who burned it is willing to rebuild it without demanding you cross halfway through the smoke. Goodbye, Ryan, I said. This time he understood it was final. He left. And I went back inside. The party lasted until almost midnight. Not because we were pretending everything was okay, because sometimes survival deserves music. At one point, my cousin Isabel grabbed the microphone and announced that the bouquet toss was canceled because we are no longer throwing blessings at random people. Everyone laughed so hard my sides hurt. Instead, she handed the bouquet to my mother. My mother tried to refuse. Isabel said, No, Tia. You caught this family every time it fell. You get the flowers. My mother cried again. Later, we cut the crooked cake. The top layer leaned slightly to the left, and my brother yelled, "Still more stable than Ryan." The room exploded. I laughed with frosting on my fork and tears drying on my face. That photograph became my favorite picture from the entire day. Not the posed bridal portrait, not the dress, not the flowers. Me laughing in a parish hall under fluorescent lights while my family laughed with me. That was the real wedding picture, not of a marriage, of a woman returning to herself. By Monday morning, the videos had spread. Not one video, several. The speech, the slideshow, Brooke's cousin parade clip, Derek's foil trays comment, Ryan's text projected on the screen. The moment Margaret Ellison walked out, the moment Elaine Porter canceled Ryan's presentation in front of the room. People stitched them together online with captions like, "Bride exposes in-laws who try to erase her family. Country club wedding turns into public humiliation. Mother-in-law from hell gets caught in 4K. I did not post any of it myself. I did not need to. People like Diane fear being talked about more than being wrong. By Monday afternoon, Diane had stepped down from the Blue Heron Charity Luncheon Committee. Not because anyone legally forced her, because nobody wanted to sit beside the woman from the video while pretending to care about working families. Her book club canceled that week. 3 women who had been at the wedding sent flowers to my mother with apology notes. One wrote, "I stayed silent when I should have walked out. I am sorry." My mother read that note twice. Then she folded it and said, "At least she knows." I appreciated the apology, but I learned something too. An apology from a witness does not undo the wound of being watched while you are mistreated. Brooke deleted her Facebook comment. Then she deleted her account for a while. Unfortunately for her, the internet saves what pride forgets. Derek tried to claim his comments were taken out of context. Then someone reposted the whole clip. There was no better context. Ryan's regional presentation did not happen. He was not fired. This is real life, not a movie. But the promotion he had been chasing vanished quietly. Elaine reassigned 2 of his largest accounts to another sales rep. His coworkers stopped inviting him to lunch. One of them sent me a message that said I should have spoken up. I am sorry. Ryan texted me that week, "Everything is falling apart, please talk to me." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Because I had spent years being his emergency contact for disasters he created himself, I was done. Ryan called every day for 2 weeks. I did not answer. Then he sent a letter. A real letter. In it, he admitted he had let his mother control too much of his life. He said he was ashamed. He said he was starting therapy. He said he did not expect forgiveness, but hoped one day I would believe he had truly loved me. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer. Not because I was waiting, because some things deserve to be acknowledged but not reopened. Diane never apologized again. Not directly. She did send a message through Ryan asking if I would make one clarifying post explaining that there had been miscommunication on all sides. I did not respond. There had not been miscommunication on all sides. There had been disrespect on one side and silence on the other. I was done helping people soften the names of their sins. For months afterward, people online loved the strong ending. They loved the speech, the ring on the podium, the family walking out, the country club crowd turning on Diane, the dignity party. They loved the clean revenge of it all. But they did not always ask about the quiet after. The quiet after is harder. Returning wedding gifts, canceling honeymoon reservations, changing passwords, putting away mugs with Mr. and Mrs. printed on them, opening your closet and seeing the empty space where his suit used to hang, missing someone who hurt you, then feeling ashamed because you missed them. That part matters. Leaving was the right choice. It still hurt. Both can be true. Healing is not a straight road. It is a path you walk with dignity in one hand and heartbreak in the other. Some days the dignity is heavier. Some days the heartbreak is. You keep walking anyway. 6 months after the wedding, that wasn't my family surprised me. They rented Willow Creek Barn, the original venue, just for one afternoon. No wedding, no aisle, no vows, just a family photo day. My dad picked me up and refused to tell me where we were going. When we pulled into the gravel lot, I saw cars everywhere. My mother, my brother, my aunties, my cousins, my coworkers, Jenna, even Carol, the venue owner, standing on the porch with tears in her eyes. For a second, I could not breathe. The gate was open. The barn doors were open. The string lights were on. The farmhouse porch was decorated with sunflowers, and on a small table near the steps was a framed photograph of my grandmother. My mother took my hand. We never got the picture she said, so we came back. I cried before I even got out of the car. That afternoon we took every photo Diane had tried to steal. My grandmother's frame sat in the center of the porch. My parents stood on either side of me. My cousins crowded the steps. Kids made faces. Aunties fussed over collars and hair. My dad's knee hurt, so two uncles helped him stand tall. Aaron, the photographer, came too. He refused payment. "This one is on me," he said. When the photos came back, I framed the biggest one and hung it in my living room. Not because everyone looked perfect. They did not. One cousin blinked. A child was mid-sneeze. Aunt Carmen was pointing at someone off camera. My brother's tie was crooked. My dad was crying. My mother was laughing. I was in the middle wearing a simple blue dress. No veil, no ring, no man beside me, and I looked free. A year later, I bought a small house with a porch of my own. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a little garden, a kitchen with yellow walls. The first party I hosted there was not a birthday or a holiday. It was Sunday dinner. My mother brought rice. My aunt brought tamales. My dad brought a toolbox because he said my screen door sounded disrespectful. My cousins filled the yard with folding chairs. Kids ran through the sprinklers. People talked too loudly. Someone spilled lemonade. Someone burned the garlic bread. Someone started dancing in the kitchen. And I stood by the sink looking at all of it and thought, this is wealth. Not the kind Diane understood. Not membership fees. Not charity committees. Not plated dinners in quiet rooms where people hide bad hearts behind good manners. Real wealth. People who show up. People who know your story. People who do not ask you to become smaller before they love you. I used to think legacy was something families like Ryan's had. A name on a building. A country club membership. A framed family portrait where everyone wore beige. A certain way of speaking. A certain kind of table. Now I know legacy is also my mother's tired hands packing lunch for children who forgot theirs. It is my father driving through snow because people were waiting on packages they needed. It is my grandmother teaching us to feed anyone who walks through the door. It is my aunties turning a ruined wedding into a feast. It is my cousins standing quietly behind me when the world expected us to lose control. It is dignity passed down through ordinary people who survived extraordinary disrespect and still chose love. That is my inheritance. No one can cancel it. No one can move it to a country club. No one can cut it from the guest list. No one can make it family only and pretend we do not count. Because family is not the people who polish your image. Family is the people who protect your soul. And self-worth is not something you prove after people doubt you. It is something you remember before they convince you to forget. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Do not marry someone who loves you in private but edits you in public. Do not shrink your family to fit inside someone else's shame. Do not confuse being tolerated with being respected. Do not mistake a ring for loyalty. And never let anyone convince you that the people who built you are the reason you do not belong. The right people will never ask you to leave your roots at the door. They will open the door wider. They will pull up more chairs. They will say, bring everyone, there is room. And if there is not room, then that was never your room. Walk out, take your dignity with you, and build a bigger table somewhere else. So now I want to ask you, have you ever had someone make you feel like your family, your background, or your past was something you had to hide? Would you have walked out like I did, or would you have tried to save the wedding? Tell me your story in the comments. Because sometimes hearing how someone else found their voice is exactly what helps another person finally find theirs.